What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another video. This is my spoiler-free review of 2026 Supergirl. Just to go ahead and start off, I was really going into this movie pretty blind, just because the only reference that I have to Supergirl is honestly the one from the Arrowverse. I never really read the comics. I really don't know much about her. And Millie Alcock, I never watched The House of the Dragon, so I actually haven't seen much of what she's been in. But I have heard that she does do great in that, so I was really going into this movie pretty open minded and just blank. I didn't really have a lot to compare it to. I didn't have anything to compare her acting to, and I didn't have anything to compare the story to. So I was kind of going into this blind. Okay, so the first thing that I really liked about the movie was just the general and overall message of it all. How to deal with your grief, whether if you just hold in all that pain or if you just take it out on somebody else. I feel like we've all lost somebody, whether if it's a family member, friend, a pet, like just anybody that we've ever loved or cared about. We've all lost somebody. And I feel like with this movie, the message that it tries to get across is not to remember your loved ones based on how they died, but to remember how they lived. Like just remember the good times. Don't just focus on all the negativity that happened towards the end of their days, but just remember all the good times that you had prior to that. It's not fair to us, and it's also not fair to that person to just only remember the ending of their times. So I really like that message, and I thought that was a really good point to get across. Like I said, I think everybody has lost somebody at some point, and so I think that's a great message to try to help people deal with grief in those different ways. Next up, I'm going to talk about Miss Millie Alcock as Supergirl. Like I said before, I was going into this blind, not knowing much about her acting and about the Supergirl story just altogether. I think she nailed it. I think for the type of Supergirl that they are trying to portray in this new DCU, I think she does a great job. You really see her humanity just throughout this. You know, she isn't perfect. She makes mistakes. She's in pain. She's angry. You know, she has all these different emotions that she's trying to work through, and I think they do a great job at like showing the differences between her and Superman. You know, like she's willing to make the hard choices and cross that line that Superman just isn't. And that's just because of the experiences that she just had to go through that he didn't have to go through. So I think she does a great job at like differentiating herself from Superman. But yeah, I think she gives you a very vulnerable, believable, and emotional performance just throughout the entire movie. I don't think there's ever one time in the movie that I was like, oh, she's not really pulling it off well. I think she did a great job being Supergirl, and I'm just very excited to see how this goes on over the next few years. Next up is probably one of my favorite highlights of just the entire movie. It's Jason Momoa as Lobo. Like we have a lot of very great castings when it comes to like these superhero movies. I feel like the perfect castings that we have are like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I feel like Lobo being played by Jason Momoa should definitely be on that list. His humor, his personality, his grit, all of that really shows in this movie, and I think he just does a amazing job. There's not a single scene that he was in that I was like, "Oh, he's back," or I was annoyed by him or something like that. I think he did a fantastic job, and he was definitely born to play the Lobo role. Like I enjoyed him as Aquaman, but him as Lobo, 10 out of 10. I had no problems with him. I really hope he comes back in future movies because I probably could never get tired of seeing him as Lobo. I love Lobo is such an amazing character already. Just having the God complex, killing his entire race just because they're the only ones that could kill him, it's wild. It's crazy. The action scenes with him are really good. I think they do a lot of the fight scenes themselves, like Millie Alcock and Jason Momoa. I think they did a lot of the stunt coordination themselves. I was super excited about it, and I thought it was great. So I can't wait to see him back again. Next up, I'm going to talk about the villain Kim, played by Matthias Schoenaerts. I think that's how you pronounce it. I remember seeing him in the old guard movies on Netflix, and so this was a complete like flipped 180 to see him in this kind of character. Um, I think he did pretty good. I think it wasn't him; it was just the writing of the character. The character was very evil, but he was also very like just unsettling, if I have to put it that way. Yeah, you guys like whenever you guys see it, you guys will see some weird things in there. I kind of would compare him to like a Mad Max DC Joker type vibe, if I'm being completely honest. Supposed if that was the goal of that character, then he definitely pulled it off 100%. So I actually liked him as Krim. I think he did pretty good in this role for sure. The next person I want to talk about is the young actress Eve Ridley. She is an amazing young actress. You can definitely see the emotional turmoil like in every scene that she's in. She does a great job at showing like between the grief and revenge concept that I was talking about earlier. Um, she's really good, and like whenever like in certain action scenes that they actually let her do some action, it looked really good. I think that's my only complaint is that like I wish we had more of her. If I'm being completely honest, I would have liked to have a bit more action scenes and stuff like that. But the emotional scenes that she was in, I think she did a great job and she pulled it off perfectly. I don't know if we'll ever see her again. Like I don't know if she's a regular Supergirl character that just shows up every now and then, but I would love to see her again. She's a great young actress. She did really good. But yeah, overall, like I said before, I was really going into this pretty blind. And so I would say I was very surprised at how good this movie actually was. I think people are just nitpicking at certain things, but I think between the action, the humor, I like the soundtrack, just the overall message. I thought that it was actually a very well put together movie, and I really didn't see much problems with it at all. I'm very excited to see what they do with this character over the next few years of DC just starting to get its ground and start to actually give us an actual like DC universe, you know? So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have seen the movie, what you guys thought about it. If you haven't seen it, plan on seeing it. And go ahead and put your ratings in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that follow button. Make sure you also follow my TikTok and also go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna be trying to post a whole lot more on there. All right. But you guys have a good one, okay?